Shut up, Olivia. You could totally score with that guy.
Okay.
All right.
How big is it?
Okay.
It's a normal question.
Oh, I miss hanging out.
I miss you
I totally
too.
miss hanging out.
How big is yours?
Well,
Already?
7 inches.
Right off.
She did just chug a beer.
I'm
all right.
I did chug a beer and I lost.
Let's start at the end with Jerry. Jerry, how did you find this movie? Did you read the book and say this is something that I need to be involved in? How did you come into the project?
We found it about 10 years ago. We found the book, and we're really excited about it. It's based on a true story about Ralph Sarchi's life in the Bronx as a detective. We love bringing verisimilitude to audiences, hopefully experiences that you'll never have, but Ralph had them. And Scott Derrickson wrote the first draft of the adaptation. He went on to do other projects and did some very successful movies and came back to it, and we're very fortunate that he's got the movie made and with this wonderful cast.
So just because you've done pretty much every kind of everything, movie and television, what is it specifically about this genre that you were like, oh, this is something I really want to tackle?
Well, you know, we love procedurals. We've made a lot of procedurals for television. This is part procedural, and it has a paranormal element, which I've never done before, and Scott is the expert on that based on his previous work, and we really relied on him to bring something that's extraordinarily scary and true to the screen.
Excellent. Eric, Dana, how are you? Hey, we didn't meet backstage.
Hey, you too, man. Thank you.
So how did you get involved with the project? Had you read the book, or did they send it over to you, or what was the project?
First point of entry for me was a script, and I read it and absolutely loved it, and would have been happy to play Ralph Sarchi in any genre, and it just so happened that he was in a horror movie. And then I sat down and met Scott, and we had a really, really great chat, and I'd loved Scott's previous movies, and it was a very, very easy decision.
Did you see? I always feel like I don't. It's not that I'm a superstitious person, but I feel like, oh, if I'm in a devil possession movie, I'm probably just gonna get possessed by the devil. Like, when you're shooting this, are you freaked out when you're shooting it at all, or did it sort of expand any belief horizons that you had?
Well, I guess I was coming from a skeptical place, which I think was, on the one hand, handy from a survival point of view, but that also suited the character. But obviously, as an actor, you've got to be open. This guy scared the bejesus out of me in pre-production. He had access to some materials along with Ralph Sarchi, the real guy, that they shared with me, which I clearly wish I hadn't have seen, and clearly had a week and a half of not being able to sleep correctly. Thank you. It's really handy leading up to a movie when you're the lead. I appreciate that. But yeah, I was just really open, and I just realised, learning a lot through Scott and Ralph, that there are varying shades of grey. It's not as simple as someone's not possessed and someone's fully possessed. It's like there's a million steps in between, as you can see out here. There is varying degrees.
Well, yeah, especially it's like devil possession or meth head. Like, how do you know? And how do you, as a skeptic, approach this? When you actually have to start believing that something crazy is going on.
Well, there's also a point at which it actually doesn't matter. It's like if you're Ralph Sarchi and you're investigating these crimes or these possession cases. I mean, he conducts his investigations like a police officer, and some of the source materials that we saw were fascinating because it's literally it's a cop interviewing someone who is in a house where there may or may not be an instance of possession. So it's actually a very analytical, very procedural point of view that was grounded in reality, which scared the hell out of me, and I hope it sort of helps the audience kind of, I hope that it grounds it for the audience as well.
Yeah. Edgar, your character is the priest,
Yep.
and that's also based on a guy who wrote a book, correct?
It is based on two characters, a Catholic bishop and a Catholic priest who accompanied Ralph Sarchi throughout, the solving of the cases that are, reflected in the movie.
So what was your point of view coming in?
Well, I was raised Catholic, so I was pretty much familiar with the symbolism, with symbolisms in the movie, and of course I watched by accident The Exorcist when I was 6 years old.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was an accident because then I couldn't sleep alone or without my lights on for the following 2 years. So halfway through the process, I was, the process of this movie, then I was wondering why did I take on this movie? Because my lights are on again, and they were on, for the 3 months of preparation and throughout the whole shoot, and also my TV set. So I had to put this thing on my eyes just to block the light and fall asleep. But I think that it has, it had a lot to do with confronting those childhood, fears, and of course I walked into it with an open mind. I cannot really deny or claim the existence of something that I don't fully understand.
Right.
So I kept an open mind, and I walked out with a broader open mind. So I think that now I'm not afraid of anything.